Shane, when it comes to the running game, there's a lot of talk about Miles and how little touches. Nick kind of explained RPOs are sometimes looked upon as runs.
Right.
Is there a time, though, you have to have a conversation where maybe we just have to take the option out of it, hand the football?
Yeah, those are conversations we have throughout the week. Absolutely. RPOs do help us, but sometimes when we want to run the football, we do have called run-it plays. And so we got to keep looking through those things and getting better at it.
Is that part of your job to kind of monitor ratio, or is that someone else?
We talk about that throughout the week, and especially on the game, on the sidelines. Obviously, those are conversations we have throughout series, what we want to do on the next series. We talk through all those things.
Nick said that he doesn't want to use pre-snap motion for the sake of pre-snap motion, but you guys had a lot of success against Atlanta using some pre-snap motion, especially with the Devontae touchdown. What made you go away from it in this game in particular, this past game in particular?
I don't know if there's a certain reason. I think more than anything, I think Coach hit on it yesterday. If we can get an advantage with motion, we're going to use it. And we're not, sometimes you motion to motion for what, So we want to get an advantage, and if we feel that we can get an advantage with the motion, we're going to motion.
Just something though. What are the drawbacks? What are some of the drawbacks that come with pre-snap motion or motion at the snap?
I mean, sometimes if you just motion to motion, maybe you don't know how they're going to adjust. That's the biggest thing. It's like, well, if we motion over here and we haven't seen how they're going to adjust, it might screw us up offensively. So if we know what they're going to be in, right, with the motion, it's going to help us as an offense.
Is that a philosophical thing for the systems that you have always worked in, that there hasn't been a lot of shifts and motions?
Yeah, for the most part, what I've been around, that's true.
You have a pretty young core of wide receivers, obviously. How do you kind of get them through the ups and downs, of starting out a season the way?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think with all those guys, I think it's just you got to keep working with them and talking through certain things. And again, right, we're in week 3, right? We got a lot of football left. Everything we want is in front of us. So we just got to keep working through those things and getting better as a group.
You come in with a pretty extensive knowledge of facing against the Chiefs, obviously. How has their defense evolved with Spags over the last couple of years and into this year?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Obviously, we faced them in Mexico City when I was coordinator there. In the last 2 years, they're very multiple defensively. They give you a lot of different looks, and from a personnel standpoint, 32 and 55 and Hitchens and 95 and Clark. They got a lot of good football players, and they do a lot of different things that we got to be ready for. And we've been practicing like crazy this week, preparing for it, and our guys will be ready to go.
We've seen a couple of instances where Jalen's long balls have come up short. What are you seeing there? What's the key to fixing that, making sure?
I think that's just repetition. I mean, obviously you want to put it out in front. Sometimes you don't make the throw all the time, right? I mean, it happens sometimes, but you just got to put it out there a little more on that last one that he had on Monday night.
Overall, this offense has scored 3 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. What needs to be better?
I think, obviously, we just need to be more efficient. We need to be more efficient on first, second down and moving the football. We can't allow ourselves to have 3 and outs like we did this past week. We got to run it, and we got to throw it. It's bottom line.
We've seen Devontae get a lot of targets the last couple of weeks. That production hasn't gone with it. What's it going to take to get that to happen?
Like Coach said the other day, I think just easy touches, get guys going, with whatever it may be, just to get the ball in their hand and get them going, and then you get some confidence going, and then everyone starts breeding confidence throughout the game.
We talk a lot about running backs getting in a rhythm. Is that a thing for receivers too?
Absolutely. I think so too, with anything, running backs and wide receivers. Obviously, getting them touches early, just getting them in the rhythm and the flow of the game.
How have you found the defenses have been playing Devontae? Have they been trying to be more physical with him the last couple of weeks?
Sometimes. We got a lot of man coverage on Monday night versus Dallas, and that's just that was their game plan going in. And I think each team has a flavor of the week. You'll get it early in games. You'll kind of see how they're going to play you, and so we'll see that on Sunday how Kansas City plans to do.
Sorry, Shane. You mentioned the first and second down success, third down. Obviously, you guys didn't convert, I think, until the third quarter. What are those discussions like during the game? Do you and Nick say, we got to get something going, we got to convert, we got to help the defense stay on the field? How do those discussions get off the field? How do those discussions go?
Yeah, that's pretty much on the sidelines. It's like, hey, we look at the call sheet and we say, hey, what do we want to run on the next series? What do we feel comfortable with? What have they been playing defensively? What do we think is going to give us the best chance on this next series? That's pretty much the conversation.
The deep overs, Dovers have been a big part of our offenses. How has the implementation of that been going with this offense and with Jalen at quarterback?
It's been good. Like I said, it's still early, right? We're in week 3 and we're continuing to grow. And obviously those certain routes that we have up, per game plan dictates the coverage that they're playing defensively is when we're going to run certain routes. So those routes come up for certain coverages that we like.
For the ineligible player downfield penalties, is that on the O lineman or is that on the quarterback to get the ball off earlier?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit. I mean, obviously, I'll take responsibility for that. I mean, we got to be better there with that, knowing that they could call those. So we got to be better there.
Is that a greater point of emphasis, you think, from the officials this year?
Absolutely. It's being called a lot. So.
You guys obviously are, three offensive linemen down. How are you guys adapting, adjusting to that?
I think it's been fine. I mean, Stout does a great job with those guys. That group is really tight knit, and they're doing a heck of a job. And it's next man up, and we're going to be ready to go.
You and Nick have worked in offenses that have used fullbacks pretty regularly. What made you guys decide to go against those looks this year?
You know what? I think it's just as we've evolved in being in offenses and system and looking around the league at what teams are doing. We just think sometimes you can spread it out a little more and create a lighter box sometimes without having a fullback in there. But I mean, teams use fullbacks. It's still good to use a fullback too.